Hey guys, welcome to Lacy Listens. This is the portion of the program where I respond to the session. So today's session, I had a dear friend of mine, Clarice, on, and Clarice and I have been friends, as we said, since we were about 15 years old. So this was a special episode where I just got to listen and not respond. So that was probably a little different for her because she's used to a lifetime of listening or of us responding. So I'm sure that was a little different, and that was kind of fun for me because I could just listen to her and hear her thoughts and her feelings and her story. And so for those of you who were tuning in and listening, I'm going to elaborate a little bit on Clarice's story. Last year, Clarice lost her brother, and it was very tragic, and she actually found her brother, and it was not it was just it was a very sad time. It was not something that she expected. It was something sudden and something that you just don't expect to find your younger brother passed away. And that being said, having been through my own loss of a younger brother, um I really resonated with our chat today, in the holidays being a difficult time, as I referenced in my last response to Lisa. Thank you again, Lisa, for um, your very thoughtful um, insights during the show on our very first episode. Um, that for grief and loss during the holiday season and how we can work on moving through that. And we were talking about um, shining a light during the holidays by the becoming what we miss the most of the people that we love, and not shoving it down. Clarice was talking about shoving down her emotions, especially anger, in regards to certain things and family. And I would encourage any of you listening to work on expressing your emotions and getting in tune with your emotions and letting them flow, because if we don't express our emotions and we stuff them down, and I've been very guilty of this, it manifests as disease in our body. That's how cancer starts, actually, is in addition to environmental toxins and genetics. Cancers actually, I think it begins because of stored emotions that you haven't worked through. And so we want to be sure to have an open channel to work through those stored emotions, because emotions are just frequency. They're just energy that are stored up in our body that we're releasing, and that's how we manifest. That's how we create. That's how we move through our life, is through emotion. We use emotion as a meter to detect whether to move forward or not with something. And so when we store those emotions and we don't let them out, it they get stagnated and they get stored up in our cells, and it becomes disease. And so even anger, it's healthy to let it out. So I would encourage all of you watching to really get in tune with your emotions. And that's why I started this, not only to learn to become a better listener, but to teach my community to get in tune with their emotions. What are you feeling? Are you feeling angry? Where do you feel that in your body? Where's that showing up for you? What does that anger make you think of at a core level? Okay. It makes you think of, you're feeling your anger in your heart, and that anger is making you think of a time in your past where you were dealt a really difficult blow. Well, what can you do to get past that? What's it going to take for you to move past that emotion and to connect it into a more positive emotion? You don't have to be happy all the time. It's not possible. We don't want you to be happy all the time, but we do want you to feel your emotions and to feel them to the most expression that you can. So feel those emotions, get in tune with them, don't be afraid of them. I'm very guilty of stuffing those emotions down and not feeling them and being stoic, but the stoicism has only ever done me harm. It's never actually done me any good. I mean, perhaps it's been defense mechanism in creating more pain for myself. But why are we so afraid of pain? Pain is the catalyst that helps us through to change. So why fear pain? Why are we fearing pain if pain is the catalyst to change? Obviously, we don't want sustained pain for the duration of our life, but what would a life without pain even look like? How would you ever have the catalyst for change if you didn't have pain? You wouldn't, right? So that being said, how do we start? How do we start to, recognize our emotions? Well, come onto my show. If you are having trouble with getting in touch with your emotions, there's no limit to how many times you can show up on the show. You can come on the show and talk to me. You don't have a counselor. I'll listen. Everybody needs someone to listen. And we can't all afford $100 an hour, but I'll give you 10 minutes of my time, and I'll respond every time. So other resources, of course, include books like Body Keeps the Score. That's a really great book about how the body stores emotions and it manifests into disease. And then also The Work by Byron Katie. The Work by Byron Katie was a life-changing book for me, and it helped me to recognize my own patterns and to shift out of some of the patterns that I was holding, because I've been a pretty dysfunctional individual throughout my life, and the only way that I was able to work through those dysfunctions and hold space and for change in my life is by taking a look at myself and saying, hey, what you're doing is not full of integrity. What you're doing is holding you back. You need to make a change. And The Work by Byron Katie has really just changed my life. So the book helps you to ask yourself a series of questions whenever you come up with a concept in your mind. Is that true? Are you absolutely certain that it's true? And if it's true, what does it mean? So if you ask yourself that series of questions whenever something comes up, like I'm angry about X, Y, and Z. Well, is it true that X, Y, and Z is actually the problem? Like, is that true? Well, if it is true, then what do you do about it? And who would you be without that problem? So if you take that series of questions and you reflect on your problem with those questions, it will help you move through and help you shift your perspective. Any obstacle that we face within our emotions, the perspective can be shifted if you can see what the lesson is. So I encourage you all this holiday season, within your sadness, your depression, your anger, your happiness, whatever it is, take a look at that and say, what can I learn from this? Even if you're feeling good and feeling joy, what can you learn from that? Because feeling good and feeling joy isn't the end all be all of everything, because we can't feel good and feel joy all the time. So what can we learn from those times where we don't, right? So that's the lesson for today. What can you learn from your emotions? And how can you get that energy flowing when you have stuffed emotions that are stagnant? I want to thank my guests. I want to thank Clarice. I want to thank Lisa. Thank you for being the first two brave souls to come on Lacy Listens, because it's not an easy thing to speak for 10 minutes without a response. I realize we're going over a little bit. I'm capping it at 20 minutes. I think in the future, we'll do 30 at the max. But I really hope this thing grows, and I'm really thankful for all of you who are showing up and who are engaging in this. This has got such a good response. This has gotten a better response than anything I've ever done. And I have been in the self-development space since 2008. So thank you. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for sharing your stories. Thank you for sharing your emotions. And thank you for letting me listen. If you want to schedule time with me, slide into my DMs. We'll get that going. Like I said, I have some open time on Sunday and Monday, Christmas Eve and Christmas. If you're one of those people that's struggling this Christmas, let's chat. I will open up some extra times for people if you want to chat during Christmas. So for Christmas Eve and Christmas, if I have more than one person, I will open up that time. Let's go ahead and let's do this thing. Let's talk about it. All right, you guys. I hope that you have a wonderful evening, and I will see you tomorrow. Ciao.